Hola amigos, welcome to this Grahamtravelsblog number 5, and my name is Graham, and if you want a more thorough introduction of who I am and what this is about, go to blog 3. And I'm basically sharing with you my journey from one reality to another. The first reality I lived in was, the standard, believe pretty much what we were taught at school, what they put in the newspapers, tell you on the news, pretty much what science told us, the evolution of man, from in Darwinistic terms, black hole theory, and the usual stuff, And from a transitional phase and then to a whole set of beliefs now, which is very different, but actually I've become a non-believer. I used to believe in things, now I suspend belief. I just think there's a whole bunch of a lot of interesting information out there that and a lot of mystery and a lot of magic, and I wouldn't say I've got a fast opinion. I have a lot of suspicions as to what may be true, so I tend not to believe as much as I used to. And this transitional phase led me to a point from where I would never have believed that anybody's life could be guided to one where I'm suspecting that perhaps my life is guided, perhaps your life is guided, and I'm writing a book on how this is possible. What led me to this point was journeying, and that was very much journeying through books and then finally getting on the road, putting a backpack on, having experiences. But the first part I'm discussing now are authors that influenced me and in a sense prepared the ground for when I was traveling. I would be ready for some of the things that came up. So I'm looking at Drunvalo Melchizedek, or Melchizedek, right now, and his book called The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life, I found on the shelves in American bookstore many years ago, and I looked at it. It looked really fascinating and very expensive, so I put it straight back on the shelf and thought maybe some other life. But for the next 6 months, that book was in my face the whole time. Every time I went to the bookstore, which is regularly, it would just turn up, and it would turn up in the wrong places and on wrong shelves, wrong sections, on trolleys that were piled up full of them that were in the way of where I wanted to go, somebody reading a copy right in front of a section I wanted to get to. I swear a copy fell on the floor from the shelf one time, and eventually I went up to buy another quite expensive book, and there was a whole pile of this particular Drunvalo book on the counter, and I realized there wasn't much difference in the price between the two. His was probably a lot more interesting, and all this synchronicity and mystery and strange stuff that was going on with the book, I thought, okay, I'm buying it. Reading that book in comparison to all the other reading I'd done, all the other reading felt like I was on a magical merry-go-round. It was all very kind of interesting, pleasant, and a bit of a head spin, but nevertheless, it was reasonably sedate. Reading Drunvalo was more like strapping myself into a roller coaster ride. It was quite a trip. And he talks about, I'm not going to go into great detail about what he's saying in the book, apart from the fact that briefly he's talking about an aquatic alien race that came to Earth and advised humanity on how to live life. And this information comes through an African tribe called the Dogon, and they've got a cave with depictions, and they've been protecting this cave for 700 years, and these depictions show our solar system from the outside in. They show DNA, and they talk about a star. They depict a star called Sirius B, which wasn't discovered until 20-30 years ago. So there's a genuine mystery here. And they're not the only tribe that talks about the Nomo talking to humanity. This also happened on Lake Titicaca. But what really resonated with me in this book was his discussion of the flower of life, and this is related to sacred geometry and the seed of life, and the golden mean, and the Fibonacci theorem or equation, and pi, phi, some people call it, and the fact that you can measure the whole body with this particular equation. And in fact, the whole of reality, the whole of our material existence, you can measure by pi. And so the idea is there's a geometric base to our material world, and therefore it's structured. It's not a happy accident. And it also indicates, this book, that there's ancient knowledge which is predates science, predates a lot of our understanding now, and in fact seems to be more expansive, more holistic, which I find interesting. So the effect of this book on me was to again break with my old reality, expand my thinking into a new reality, because all the time since Castaneda I'm asking, what if fish-like beings did land on the planet? This Fibonacci stuff, this golden mean stuff, is very interesting. I can follow that. That's scientific. There's nothing too mysterious about that. So he had a big impact on my life, Drunvalo, along with all these other authors. And there's others. There's a guy called Zecharia Sitchin, who I will talk about in the next one. So this is it for this blog. Just a quick introduction to Drunvalo. I'll put a blog, a link underneath, where you can read a review of the particular book I'm talking about. And not so much a review, but a synopsis, an overview. Okay, that's it from me. If you like this, give me a thumbs up. Any tips, let me know. And see you in the next one on Zecharia Sitchin. Don't forget to breathe, and I'll see you in the next one. Hasta la vista.